Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, Teresa's Crafty Cabana. Today we're going to be making a little project, but it's going to take a few series to complete. So I'll just be showing you one page kind of at a time until I have the completed series. So the idea that I have is I want to create kind of like a sketchbook, but unlike a sketchbook, I won't be sketching in it. I'm going to be using just a few of my favorite either die cuts or stamps for the season, but kind of put them all together in like on a page so that I can reference it when I'm wanting to see how I can use the colors on the little die cuts or the stamped images. So it's going to be kind of like a stamped sketchbook and die cuts, so just a collection so I can kind of get some visual inspiration. What my idea is, it's not huge. This is only measuring 4 inches this way and 3 inches this way, so it's pretty small, but a lot of my die cuts and things are pretty small, so I feel like I can get a decent amount on an open page like this. So for the idea for this one, it's going to be fall inspired because, well, we're in fall, it's September. I wanted to do something with, I've got 4 pages here with some sunflowers, some apples, some pumpkins, and maybe something like foresty with fall leaves. So that's going to be where I'm going to go with this, and then at the end when I'm done making them, I will adhere all of these pages together to create my little book. So today's, I just pulled out some spray stains. These are the metallic types, the mica spray stains from Ranger, Tim Holtz. I just got a couple of different colors here, pretty much all of the holiday colors. So I'm going to start by just giving myself a little bit of a background, and then I'll start doing some stamping. I've got my little splat box out, and I'm going to be using my distress sprayer. This is Canson watercolor paper, 140 pound, and I think I'm just going to start getting a layer down, starting with some water. Now I don't want the colors to be very overwhelming on this because this is kind of like my base layer. So I've got this unraveled, which is kind of like a close to antique linen, I think, but it's got the mist, the shimmer in it. So I'm just gonna do a little bit of maybe antiquing to the page. I've got another, this is a distressed oxide, and the color is Vintage Photo. So I'll add that. It's giving it like almost like a spray paint effect. To spread out the colors, I could just take my water, kind of get the colors to move a little. I can even get them to really move if I get it really wet. Okay, I like that. I'm gonna kind of let these blend out, and then I'll go ahead and dry it and see what that looks like, and see if I need to do another layer or if I'm ready to start doing my stamping and things on top of it. Alright, so this is after it was dried. You can see it has these really cool little speckles. This is from the oxide ink, and then this is also from the oxide ink. It just makes this really cool antiqued, rusty look to it. And of course it's got the nice shine from the mica stain. So I think that is a really great background. I love that. So let's build on top of this. This is going to be my sunflower piece. What I did is I kind of went through my dies and my stamps to see which ones would make good sunflowers. Just like as a reminder to myself what kind of dies I have. I've got these little flowers here, and it has 2 different sizes. So I cut out 2 of each of these size flowers, just a little extra too, just to make a little sunflower type flower like that, to really make it look like a sunflower. I have these little inside pieces here. It cuts out 4 at a time. And I have this other little set. It comes with all these cute little embellishments. Not this main die, not the big die. It just has all these little added embellishments here. So they're kind of, to me, they're holiday a little bit. You've got apples in here. You've got leaves, like fall leaves, but they're all really tiny. Here I've got the leaf that I used was right here for my sunflowers. This flower right here kind of looked like a sunflower if I cut it out twice. And then this piece right here made some great centers for my little sunflowers. So I'm going to start coloring in these little pieces and kind of build my die cut stamp sketchbook page here. So let's see how that goes. So I'm going to be using my jelly plate to actually just hold my pieces that I die cut, just because they're little now. And I'm just going to use some regular watercolor paints. And I'm just doing really quick coloring here. This inspiration book is going to be more of a reminder of what kind of supplies I have when I'm feeling like I want to work on a project. So this, I like the yellow, and I do want to come in with just a bit of orange mixed with this kind of yellow ochre color, just to tone down that orange a little bit. And I'll come in the centers. Just kind of messily work my way around the petals. Nothing perfect, but just making sure I got color on all the petals. Alright, so I'm going to let those dry, and while those are drying, I'm actually going to condition my gel plate and to see if I can get it to stick better. Again, I just use baby oil and a paper towel. And you can see it just starts taking all those layers of kind of like grime that builds up. Just takes it off. A lot of people will use mineral oil as well. Pretty much whatever can get all the gunk off, and then kind of gets the jelly plate a little bit stickier. I wanted to share a really great comment that I got from one of my subscribers, Debbie. This was on my mixed media tags video. She said, "They turned out so beautiful, such lovely fall tags. I'll have to give this a try. Another beautiful project to add to my to-do journal. I have a journal that if I see an idea I want to try, I jot down the info on the idea on a piece of paper, the artist, the video title, date, or whatever will lead me back to the person who posted it so I can make my version. I put several ideas onto one page. When I create those inspiration pieces, I add one of the pieces to that page and make notes about the piece that I created on tags that I put onto the page also. It is my favorite journal. I have many pieces in it I have created from inspiration that I have gotten from you. Thank you for inspiring me." I was so touched by this. I thought this was such a great comment, and what a neat idea. And I actually think that's a really cool way to kind of track how you're finding artists or what you're enjoying about them. So thank you, Debbie, so much for sharing that with me. I really appreciate that. Alright, so to glue these together, I'm using my Zig 2-way glue. This has a really fat tip, but that's okay. So I'm going to start by just putting glue in the center of my flower. And then I have this little pickup tool that I'll use to go from this largest piece, put it on the center, and I'll do another dot of glue and work my way down to the smallest piece. and then I'll let that dry. And I'll do that for my other flowers. And this I'm going to double up. So I have another set of petals. Again, I'll put some glue in the inside part, just where the center is. I'll offset the petals. And then I'm going to set that aside to dry. Okay, so I glued these two. This is a different looking flower. This one has skinnier petals than that one. Next, I'm going to do some stamping. So I used some of my circle die cuts that are kind of like nesting circles, and I used a little bit of washi tape to kind of stick two of them together that went next to each other. And I cut out with just the big one the background piece, and then with the frame I cut out 4 circles that have a frame to fit like this. Then I'm going to stamp. I've got this sunflower that I'll use to stamp inside here. I'm actually just going to stamp it like this. It doesn't have to be perfect. I'm going to use some of my Distress Oxide ink. This is fossilized amber. I will spray a little bit of water on it. That does help it move around on the watercolor paper. So I'm just taking a mini mister. All right, and I'll let that dry, but I might, once it's dry, come in with a little bit darker tones maybe in the center. Color I'm going to use on my frame is going to be a blue color to pop against these oranges and yellows. I have this really pretty blue. It's almost like a turquoise. So I'll start adding that. And while it's wet, I've just got a little bit of darker blue. Just come in some areas. Okay, and I'll do that for all of my circles. For the center of my flower here, I just have a little bit of brown. Just gonna do some kind of squigglies. And then I'll add a little bit of black, just right in the center. I do want to go into those petals to kind of draw that color and finish the flower. So again, I'm just going to mix up some yellow and orange. I'll just quickly color these in. Okay, and I'll let that dry. So another sunflower that I have is this, it's almost like a card size, maybe ATC card size. And I'm just going to use the sunflower part here. Now, I think I'm going to use this as well, but I'll have the sunflower kind of be in the background. I'm going to use my walnut stain. And it just has to go about that high. And there's a nice neutral transfer. I've got this little texture piece that I embossed, and I'm going to use some more of my distress spray stains. I've got some burning ember here. It's more like an orange color. And a little bit of fallen acorn, just like a brown. Bring in some more of that unraveled, which is again cream color. And of course, to mix it all together, I'll use my spray bottle. Okay, and then I'll dry those and see what they look like dried. So this is what the dried, it looks like sunflowers to me. This is that 3D embossing texture with the spray stains over it. I think that looks really pretty. This is the other one that I did. It looks kind of rusty, really cool. So that one is going to go over on this side. Then I did spray this one with a little bit of my Harvest Moon and some Decayed, dried it. And I'm going to do a little bit of stamping on this. I have these words that say, "You are my sunshine." And so that's what I'm going to stamp on here. I'll just use my Distress ink in walnut stain again. And there we go. This next step, I'm going to work on my frame here. I have this little piece of mesh. It's like tulle, and I just cut this out with the same big circle die cut. And what I'm going to do is sandwich it between two of these. So let's start with just gluing it on the top of one. I think I like this one for my top layer, so I'll do this one as my middle layer. I'm using wet glue to give me a little bit more playtime. And I'll just center this on here, and then I'll take my top frame and just kind of sandwich it together. While that's drying, I'll glue these two together. And this one should at least be dry enough, yep, to add these two. And I'll just make sure those frames line up as best that I can. Just trying to make sure they're not completely uneven. So to finish off this piece, before I can glue it, I want to put some of my, it's going to be a shaker. So I've got these little confetti pieces that I got from Michael's. I think they were like, clearance. Just some fun little confetti pieces. They're in some kind of funky shapes, but they have a really pretty colorful iridescent quality to them. So I'll put some of those in because you can still see through them to the flower underneath. Then I've got these. This is also, I think, from Michael's. It has like kind of, they're little rocks that have like a brown side and a little black side to them. So it kind of reminds me of the center of sunflowers. So I wanted to put some of those in there. You have to be careful because this does have holes in it. So whatever you put in just can't be smaller than these holes. I think these will be okay. And lastly, I've got a couple of other things I have here. The gold, I think I want to use a little bit of the gold. Now the gold does have some smaller pieces in it, so I'm thinking I'll just pick out just a few larger ones. There's little hearts in here and like little hexagons, just to give it some gold sparkle, not a ton. And I just love these stars, and so I kind of use them whenever I can because they're really sparkly and fun. There's a few different sizes, so I'll just throw a few of those stars in, and they really catch the light. Okay, then I'll move all my little pieces into the center. And just glue my frame on. Just want to make sure this is lined up. Making sure it's centered. Alright, so I just ended up cutting off a little bit around this edge, and that made it so that it fits in there nice, and now it opens and closes real nice. Just going to make sure that's centered. Okay, that looks about right. I put some foam tape on the back of my little title. I'll just center that on here. Trying to decide if I want it maybe like this instead. Yeah, I think I'll do that. That looks cute with these sticking up just a little. I want it to be hidden when that little flap closes. So that is good. A little flap, a little flower on the inside, my little shaker, and you are my sunshine and my two little sunflowers. So we'll close that up, and that will be my sunflower inspiration page. So that is just the first page. And I'm going to be making some more pages to connect here. So stay tuned for those videos. I hope you enjoyed watching, and I will see you when I make the next video. All right, thanks for being here. Happy crafting, y'all.